This is section 6.5. And chapter 6 is about matrices, and we're going at it a little out of order. We're starting with 6.5, and then we'll do 6.3, 6.6, and 6.7. So the 6.5 talks about what is a matrix. So let's start there. It's a rectangular array of numbers, and it's usually in a bracket. And we have horizontally, they're the rows. Vertically, we have columns. And you talk about the size of the matrix. It is a row by column. So this one is 2 by 2. This one is 2 by 3. So size is row by column. If you're going to add or subtract matrices, they have to be exactly the same size. Can't do it if not. You can do 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. You can add them, and you add the elements in the same position. 1 and a -3 is a -2. 3 and 0 is 3. 9 and 2 is 11. -4 and 7 is 3. So they just have to be exactly the same size if you're adding or subtracting. Sometimes we need to multiply a number outside by the matrix. That's called multiplying a scalar. And so if you were given matrix A was this, 3A, you just multiply 3 by each element in here, and you get your new matrix. 3 times 1, 3 times 4, etc. And you get your new matrix. Now, if you're going to multiply on the calculator, let's go ahead and pull up the calculator and get that where we can look at it if we need to. So we'll just move it over for a minute. So you'll do second matrix edit, and you'll put in the numbers. And to be able to multiply, for it to work, the number of columns in the first one has to equal the number of rows in the second one. So if you had a 2 by 3 and a 3 by 1, are they able to be multiplied? Yes, because the columns in the first one equals the rows in the second one. And then these two on the outside tell you what size your output will be, what will your answer will be. It'll be a 2 by 1. So let's go put this in our calculator just so you can kind of get used to that. So second and matrix is this button here. It has matrix on top, and so second matrix, and then we're over here, and we're going to go over to edit, and we want to put the size of what we want to put in. We want a 2 by 3, and they've given us the blank one. We can just type over those numbers. So we've got 3, 5, we've got a -1. It'll pop us down to the next row, and we have 6, 0, 4. Once you're done, you double check that you've put it in correctly, and then do a second quit to get out of it. Now we want to go and put in the other one, which is a 582. It's a 3 by 1. So 582. So second matrix again. Over to edit. Now we want to go down to B and hit enter, and we want it to be a 3 by 1. And let's remind ourselves what it was. It was a 582. So we're going to put 582. And I've got it in right. We're going to second quit. So now we should have two matrices in, and we want to multiply them. So you go back in, second matrix, and then here is the column of names. So you want A, multiplication sign, go back in, second matrix, go down to B, and hit enter. You're telling the calculator that you want to multiply matrix A times matrix B. We'll hit enter, and we get 5338, which is what I have written here, and it indeed is a 2 by 1. And we knew it was going to be a 2 by 1 because this outer set of numbers tells you that. So you'll practice on that, but I wanted you to see at least how to start that. Let's go look at our problems. All right, number 1, if possible, find values for x and y so that the matrices are equal. Well, remember they're exactly equal if the elements in the same positions are equal. So what does x have to be? 3. What does y have to be? It has to be 0. Okay. Number 2, find values for x and y so that they are equal. Well, what did we say? They have to be exactly the same size, and these aren't, so this is not possible. Number 3, find a plus b. You could put these in your calculator and have it do for you, or you can just add them by hand, and that's pretty easy. The elements in the same position get added. So 5 and -6 is -1, 2 and 0 is 2, 8 and 1 is 9, -7 and 4 is -3. All right, for the given matrices A and B, they want you to do 3 things: A plus B, B plus A, and A minus B. Now, take note, in real number systems, A plus B and B plus A are the same thing. That's not the case necessarily with matrices, so you have to be careful and do the right order. So you can either do these by hand, or you could put both of them in and then do A plus B, B plus A, A minus B. But if you were doing it by hand, you're just saying 3 and 11, 6 and 8, -5, -3, and you're just doing that for that. If you're doing B plus A, now that's going to be, in this one, that's going to be the same thing. It's not necessary for multiplication. It could be different for multiplication. So A minus B, you're going to subtract these. 3 minus 11, 6 minus 8, -5 minus a -3. So you'll do those that way. Probably just as quick to do those by hand. Number 5, find these where this is A, this is B. So they want you to do A plus B. So if we add those, we get this. -5A. That means you're going to take this one and multiply -5 times all 4 of those. That's pretty straightforward. Then they want 2A plus 4B. So you would, it might be quicker to put these 2 in as A and B, and then you could just do 2A plus 4B and get this matrix here. Same way with this one. You're going to do 4 of these and add this one, and then subtract this one. So you can either do that by hand and write that out. So your first one would be like -20, 36, 4, 24, 28, 20. And then you could write that over here and then add this one and then subtract this one. Or you could put all 3 of them in and do 4A plus B minus C, and you would get your answer. Same way here, -4 of these, -2 of these. I mean, you can do those by hand, pretty easy. That's adding and subtracting. Same way here. Now we get to multiplying, and this is really where, A times B is not the same as B times A. I think before I was saying that, and I was thinking multiplication. So here's A, here's B. Let's go ahead and put those in. I'll do this one with you because that takes a little bit more. All right. Second matrix, over to Edit, Enter, and we've got a 2 by 2. And we've got 3, -8, 2, and 4. And then we'll do a second quit. We'll go back in and put B in, second matrix, Edit. Let me do that again. Second matrix. Let's go down to B, over to Edit. I gotta get to B sometime. All right, there we go. B is a 2 by 2 as well. And we've got -9, 3, 7, and 2. All right, so we've got them in. Now, it wants to know what's A times B. So we go in, we go to second matrix, we grab A times, go back in, go down and get B, and we get those. Let's see if that's the numbers we've got. Negative 83. Yeah, okay, so we got that. Now let's do B times A. Second matrix, go down and get B, times, go get A, and we should have those numbers, negative 2184. So they're different. It's not like real system multiplication. It can be different. All right, number 10, find the product of the following matrices if possible. Remember, the columns in the first, so that's 3, has to equal the rows of the second. We don't have 3 rows here, so this multiplication is not possible. Number 11, if this is possible to do A times B, well, number of columns equals number of rows. We can do that, and so you would put A in and B in and do AB. Then for B times A, you have to think number of columns equals number of rows, because sometimes it might work one way and not the other, but it does work both ways. So you get both those in, you do AB, and then you do BA. Number 12 is the same way. We'll look here. Okay, the number of columns is 3, the number of rows is 2, so that's not possible. But going the other way, number of columns is 3, number of rows is 3, so we can do B times A, and you could do that in your calculator. All right, so number 13, we've got find possible if it's AB times BA. So number of columns here is 2, number of rows here is 2. That multiplication is possible, and you would put it here. And then find BA. So that means the number of columns is 3, number of rows is 2. That one is not possible. 14, use A and B to determine the value of AB with a calculator. So you'll put this in as a 3 by 3, this one as a 3 by 3, and then multiply them on your calculator. We've been using our calculator anyway. This one, same way, you've got 2 3 by 3s, put those in, and then you will just do 2. You'll type the number 2, you'll go get the name of A, hit the squared key, plus, type 3, go get the name B, and you'll get this value. Pretty much all calculator work with the exception of some adding and subtracting at the beginning. So I think that should get us started on matrices.